And through the miracle of technology, we are all three together at last.
All right.
Do you usually keep your cat around? Is that a...
Whenever I start a call for work, it knows that I'm not like using my laptop or typing. So it comes up on my lap because it knows like that's the time I can have it on my lap. Otherwise I'm using my mouse and the keyboard. So it's smarter than I thought it was, apparently.
Yeah. Andrew and Ryan, do you have a pet or anything like that?
Nope. I got a 2.5-year-old, if you can consider them a pet, but he's
yeah. I have a fish myself. So,
all right.
Yeah. I told somebody that's the most responsible I could be. You know, you just gotta feed a fish once a day and then clean the tank like every other week. So
yeah, that's my
for me that. Yeah, that is perfect. You know, and I can be gone for like an entire day or 2 days, and it doesn't know. It doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Your responsibility limit, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I'm talking here with Ryan and Arron from the band. City Windows. Man, I heard your EP. And I had to get you guys on. I really enjoyed it. The EP that I'm talking about, of course, is Oxbow. And very reminiscent. It transported me back to my capricious youth, as all youth should be capricious. And wanted to talk to you guys about it, obviously, which is why you guys are here. But first, the liner notes. You know, I saw that you guys were able to record this, you know, at Serpent Studios with Ben Moore, who's you may know from Rocket from the Crypt and Pinback. It was mixed by, it's essentially a who's who, you know, mixed by Dave Haldridge from Story of the Year, mastered by Stephen Egerton of the Descendants.
Yeah.
How did this happen? I mean, that is, again, a who's who of the music industry.
Sure. Well, it was actually fairly organic. We had talked about where we wanted to record originally. We kicked around some different studios in terms of the local San Diego scene. And then Arron, I believe, connected with Ben through the Shades McCool guys.
Yeah, Shades McCool and the Bold Flavors. Another scene to check out there.
Yeah. So we got connected through those guys to Ben. We did a walk through the studio. It's an incredible spot. It's got great energy. The engineering room is awesome. It felt really good. And then talking with Ben, I think we all just kind of clicked from the get-go, outlined what the plan would be for the recording process, and then got that squared away. And then we did the vocals up at CDMS in Carlsbad with this engineer, Matt Pav. We recorded those last summer, and then moved on to mixing through Arron, through Dave Holdridge, and I think he's out of Vegas, correct, Arron?
Yeah, now he is correct.
Yep. So he did a killer job. And then my old band had our record mastered by Stephen Egerton. So I hit him up and just picked up on an old conversation, see how he was doing, see how he was managing through all the, just through life in general. And I think this was pre-COVID. So we just started chatting. He said, "What have you been up to?" And I sent him over the record, and he was stoked, and then mastered it out. And that's kind of what you're hearing today. So it was just kind of, we phased it out. We took our time with it. It wasn't a big rush. I mean, some of it maybe took a little bit longer than we would have liked. But, you know, in the end, I think it was all beneficial to the project, and I think to the record and what you're hearing today.
Everybody's been describing you guys as melodic punk rock with a hint of rock and roll. But, like, to me, like, punk rock has never been melodic at all. You know,
sure.
It's very hard. How do you infuse that together to create that?
I think when I hear like melodic punk rock or melodic hardcore, whatever that is, to me that just reads as it has pop elements. You know, there's it's not all minory, dissonant, heavier stuff. It's just I don't mind playing some of the harder stuff. I actually like it a lot, but I always like being able to pepper a little bit of hope or melody or a little bit of a grizzled pop, if you will, into the song. So I mean I don't really take that as anything besides it just has some positive upturns throughout the songs. Would you agree, Arron? What do you think?
Yeah, I think part of it too is we maybe ourselves get bored if we try to do something that's a little too linear, even in a song or an EP. So I noticed that writing, we're like, let's just do something weird here. Like, we gotta get ourselves a little excited. Like, whatever we expect to happen, let's just throw in a riff and make it weird. So I think it all comes together in the end. But that's how the writing process seems to be.
As a drummer, I've always been, I work with drummers a lot, and I've always been told that drummers should know how to play to a room, because a lot of drummers that I've met, their whole idea of drumming is banging the shit out of the drums as hard as they can. But whenever I'm recording with a band or something like that, I tell the drummer, I'm like, just play to the room. What's your philosophy when playing the drums?
I totally understand that, playing to the room. One of the best, I guess, pieces of advice or things I've ever heard is write your drums or play your drums to best serve the song you're playing. I'm fortunate enough to play in bands that are loud and aggressive, and I don't have to hold back and play soft often, because that's not how I enjoy playing. I want to play as loud as possible and make things, crash and splash all over the place. So I think we definitely have a lot of that in City Windows. We bring it down from time to time, but I think part of our sound is really being aggressive and abrasive. From Ryan and Lyle, they don't just sing pretty. They're giving everything they have in their voice, every volume, you can hear the grasp in their voice. So I think the music and the way I play drums tries to back it up by just being crisp, not overplaying, but playing as loud and as aggressive as I can without messing everything up.
You bring an interesting point as regards into the vocals. You guys are a duo. It's Ryan and
Lyle.
Yeah. But what was that decision? Because to have two people, come together, was it first like, oh, maybe I should sing this song or I should sing this song, and then it was just like, why don't we both sing it together? Or was that a compromise, or how did that happen?
Yeah, so there was like a handful of songs that I had that we originally, before we kind of locked in the current lineup, we were trying different folks out. We were trying different vocalists out that we felt may just be able to carry the whole band. Unfortunately for us, none of those really worked out the way we had hoped. So kind of in turn, it just by default came into my lap in that I'd always kind of sang. I'd always been that other grizzled guy in the band with the kind of the throaty vocals, and I was like, what the hell? Like in an effort to keep things moving, let's go. Let me give it a shot here. And then we locked up with Lyle, and his voice was just such an incredible. It created more of that versatility in the sound. So then we just started kind of tag teaming things, and then I was like, why don't you take this verse and I'll do the pre-chorus here, or vice versa. And then we just try to strike a balance, even in some of the newer stuff that we're coming up with. I'm such a fan of Lyle's voice, so I definitely enjoy when he takes on more singing, and I like to play the guitar a lot. So I'd rather just kind of noodle and sit in the back, but it has really worked out nicely, and I think we struck a cool balance on the record, and it's just nice for the listener too to be able to have a little bit of from column A and column B, and then maybe have them join forces in the choruses.
It's definitely becoming a signature of your guys' sound, which I'm enjoying. You know.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Speaking of which, I saw something about Hawaiian pizza, and it got me to thinking. And I know you were doing an interview, and you said that Hawaiian pizza is acceptable, but only with quality ingredients. Do you use that same ideology when creating a song?
That's an interesting question. Wow. That's a really original question, mapping back to one of my favorite foods. That's,
I think so, and this is going to be a terrible pun, but if something sounds cheesy to us or stock, we're all gonna call it out in a practice. We'll be like, that sounds too much like this, or that's what you would expect to happen there. Like, let's redo that or revisit that or scrap that and pepper something in that's, you know, there's a lot of food puns I got going on.
Yeah. 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 I don't know. Personally, I like pineapple pizza with like jalapeno. So in that vein, we like to spice up our songs a little bit from time to time. You know, I'm a dad, so I could go on with these dad jokes all day. But it really is a nice blend of a little bit sweet and spicy. I really don't know how to answer this question. Besides, it's we try to just make sure that we keep it fresh. You know, we don't want to get bogged down with any doughy parts. We like to keep things.
Yeah. I mean, we're a punk band, but we're not crust punk.
Maybe stuffed crust punk?
Maybe.
New genre.
Yeah, that's incredible. That is incredible.
Oh man. You guys played or you guys got played on one of my favorite stations, 91X. Tell me about that experience. Was it surreal hearing you guys on the radio?
I mean, we love the San Diego scene. We know so many bands, and Tim Piles, who is the host of that show, books a lot of shows around town and is really a great promoter of the scene in general, of all types of bands. And just to have him be a part of it, and because we played at least one or two of his shows in the past, so we had a lot of respect for him. And you know, we didn't expect him to play two songs back to back, so that was like pretty cool to hear. But yeah, just to kind of get in there and be a part of the San Diego scene that we've been playing in and love and support. Now we're like officially a part of it. Feels pretty good.
Yeah, you guys are all from different areas of the United States. What was it about San Diego that lured you there?
I think I'd be remiss if I didn't say something about the weather. You know, it's pretty remarkable in that coming from the Midwest and East Coast, we all battled through a lot of shitty winters growing up. So I think the lure of not having to deal with snow and ice and living in a beautiful city like San Diego with beaches and just year-round incredible weather was definitely high up there for decision making in terms of where I wanted to land.
And you, Arron?
Yeah, for sure. And I knew some people here. Honestly, the music scene was a draw, and a lot of bands that I listened to growing up are from here. Rocket from the Crypt, Drive Like Jehu, and a lot of other bands. But yeah, it's the laid back attitude, the weather, opportunities that living here bring. You go over to Mexico in 10 minutes and get a great taco, some tequila, and come back all in one day.
Yeah, when I lived out there, again, you guys are spot on. I think the San Diego weather is probably the best. I think better than LA weather, and I also think that their Mexican food is better than LA Mexican food. It's one of my favorite places. It's the first time I ever had a California burrito, and then ever since then I became obsessed with California burritos. So every time I'm around town, I'm always just like, "Do you guys have a California burrito? Let me try it." And then,
yeah,
you know, I always rate it upon my experience over there. One of my favorites is Santana's.
Yeah,
out in San Diego.
The Mainstay. It's a good one. Yep.
Yeah. Do you guys have any Mainstay places that you guys like to eat out there?
For California burritos, I have a couple. Matador Grill, Linda Vista, one of the best California burritos, most consistent California burritos I've ever had. Shout out to the Matador Grill on Linda Vista. And then Roberto's Claremont Drive, classic. I mean, it's just like, I don't know what it is about that location. It's really good, and their red sauce is so good, and the verde is fire. So those are my two spots.
Arron.
Chewy's Taco Shop. It's right up from my street on El Cajon and Montezuma. It's got great Yelp reviews. It's just a great little taco shop. And you could be in any part of town and find one of those. That's what's, you kind of get ruined for going anywhere else and wanting a taco. You're not going to get what you expect when you're
here. And of course, for other food reviews, make sure to log on to their Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. Check out our Chow Hound page.
I'll have all the links on the show. But of course, you guys, other than playing great music and knowing great food spots, you guys are giving back. I saw that you guys recently put into the COVID fund, and you guys raised like $500-600. Tell me about that decision and why.
Arron?
I think we had the EP, we were sitting on it, and we were ready to release it basically when the pandemic started, and it just felt odd to be like, hey, look at us, we made music in the middle of all this. But we wanted to get it out there, and we're like, well, let's just put it out for free. And we kind of saw this San Diego COVID-19 response fund that was part of a local charity, and it got some good reviews in what it was doing in the community, helping people get food and find resources during this time. And we're like, well, let's just get it out there. If people want to donate, we'll put it all to that. And that way people can get the music and also feel good about doing something. We can feel a little bit better about putting our music out instead of just being selfish about it. But it was great to see the response. You know, some people paid $50 for the EP. I think that was the most we got, maybe, which is
it was cool,
amazing. But then that went straight to the fund, and all the other people that maybe bought it for $1 or $2, all the money somewhere, and then they get to hear our music, and we get our music out to people. So it was beneficial for everyone. I think we all felt good that we could do something like that.
Yeah, very cool. Last two questions, and then I'll let you go. But thank you guys so much for coming on the show and being a part of this. Really appreciate it. Like, again, when I heard you guys' music, I had to get you on.
For sure.
Recently in the news out here in Southern California, there was a party of like 700 people. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. But I was wondering, what was the craziest party or house party that you've ever been to?
I got one that always comes to mind, and I tell this story. I was at a party in my hometown in Erie, PA, and it was a house in high school. Parents were out of town, and we were sitting in the kitchen, and a couple of us talking. We thought something was burning, so we opened the oven. Next thing we knew, a kid who was on the football team and lived in my neighborhood opened the door to the basement, and smoke started billowing out. The entire house burned down. By the time we got around front into our car to leave, the flames were shooting out the front, and there were kids scattering everywhere. No one got hurt, thankfully, because there were people jumping out of the second story windows onto the roof to get away. But to have the house literally burned down is a party story to beat.
That's legendary.
It was a nice house too. Their parents had some money.
Yeah, I had a couple pretty crazy ones, but I went to this one. I was probably 22 or 23 with an ex-girlfriend up in Malibu at this dude Cisco Adler's house. He's like Lou Adler's kid. We went up there, and it was like Paris Hilton and all these these models that weren't really famous yet. It was like in 2001 or 2002, and it was just filled with all these celebrities. And I just couldn't really believe where I was or like what I was doing. And it was surreal. And everyone was just partying it was probably like a 48-hour party. Everyone just partied for 2 days there. And then I went out with my life, and I was like, that was a pretty crazy night. And then proceeded to watch all these people get super fucking famous So it was like, God, well, that was really weird because I smoked a bunch of grass with that guy, and that guy was drinking really heavily. It was just so weird, but it was one of the most surreal house parties that I've been to because it was just a weird, precursor to all these people's fame, and you kind of met who they really were before all this TV personality came into. So that's probably top 3. That was a weird one.
They'll be saying the same thing when they see you on entertheshell.com.
That is true. That is true.
I was at a party with that guy
like 18 years ago. Who knew he was going to blow up?
He was so drunk.
Lastly, I heard that you're a big Lou Bega fan, Ryan.
Oh man, that's never gonna let no one's ever gonna let me not talk about that interview. You know what, Lou Bega, Mambo number 5, Lou Bega. I got a lot of respect for that guy. That guy's a German recording artist. He's only like 44, so if you do the math back to how young he was when that came out, I think he's worth $1 million. I just think Lou Bega is a cool guy, and he's also very an obscure reference when you talk about staples from the 90s, early 2000s. In terms of a fan, I've never personally purchased one of his records. I don't own anything of his. I think I'm just a fan of his name and his random pop obscurity. So, I think that's probably the extent of it. But I'm sure he's a cool guy. If Lou Bega is listening, big shout out from Ryan Steele from City Windows, dude. Let's do a split.
Mambo number 6.
Yeah, exactly. And a half.
Wait till Mambo number 6 happens.
Yeah, exactly.
I know we have a little bit of fun, with the program and with everything. But on a real note, I know this record was very personal for you guys. That shows. It shows in the music, from what I've heard. Every song, every album is always personable to an artist. And if you could just tell me about, I know it's a journey, but more about now that it's out and about, and your stories are being told, how do you feel about that?
I'm pretty thrilled that this stuff is actually coming out and the songs are being able to be consumed, because there was a couple years there that we just didn't know if this was like gonna happen. Like I said, we went through a bit of a revolving door of players, and Arron and I were kind of just trying to gut it out. We knew we had something cool. We knew we had some good stories to tell. And the fact that they're out now, the personal stuff, all the stuff is really just about transitional self-realization stuff, about coming from one chapter of your life into the next, and leaving back some of the irresponsible bullshit that you used to do as a kid and trying to like address it more head on as an adult, and being a husband, dads, and all that kind of that whole turning of the corner, if you will, in life, but also trying to stay true to yourself. I had like a year where I tried my hardest not to play guitar because I was like, it's not really going to do anything for me anymore. Like I toured, I did that. It's not, so I'm just going to try to not do that. And it was one of the dumbest things I've ever done in my life, because it was just like, it's in my DNA and it's what I love to do. So there's just a lot of that kind of stuff that I was trying to put into some of the lyrics, whether it's friendships, personal relationships, work relationships, career, past bands, current bands. It's all just kind of been there in terms of like, yeah, it's not easy. It's difficult. Actually, identity crisis is a real thing. And especially with all the stuff going on now, it's like people are trying to navigate, who am I and what I spent all my life being in bands and playing on stages and stuff, and now we can't do that. So what do I do? It's challenging. And I think some of that kind of comes out in the lyrical content. So, but I'm happy that it's out. I hope some people resonate with it and can understand, that you're just not alone in going through those kind of changes in life. It's difficult.
Cool. Thank you for sharing all that. And of course, for more information, make sure to log on to their facebook.com/City Windows Official. And it's the same for their Instagram, City Windows official. I have all the links on AarronTheShell.com. And most importantly, right now you're watching the vlog, but hit the link down at the bottom so you can hear their music as I'm playing 2 songs from the EP. And thank you so much for allowing me to play a few cuts from the record. Really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much again.
Yeah, cool. Big ups, Albert. Thanks. And real quick shout out to Las Galera Records and Will Castro and that whole crew for helping us push the record. They're great people and a great team to be part of.
Cool. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Always keep me in mind anytime you guys have anything coming out. Cool.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.
Stay